All right, vlog number 6. Let's go ahead and get into this. So the topic that I want to document today is kind of funny to me, partly because it can sound contradictory to the last vlog. In vlog number 5, I talked about not doing booths and how that wasn't part of our plan and nothing that we wanted to do. And funny enough, we just got back from doing our first booth this weekend, and we feel like it was a huge success, and we plan on doing more. Now, as we do more, it'll fit into our plan strategy. We're going to make a few modifications to how we do it, and hopefully you'll see why the decision was made to go ahead and move forward with this type of thing at this point in the business. But before I get into that, I know that I mentioned last time talking about how we got our NCAA license and how that all played into our growth last year. After thinking about it for a while, I realized that even as I covered just the general information on our history, I left a lot of things out, partly because I forget about them until later. Until I revisit the vlog again, I think, well, I should have added this or I should have added that. So I will still go over the licensee program because I think it's important, but probably just in the later vlog. And the reason being is we just participated in the 2017 inaugural Polynesian Football Classic in Las Vegas. And it was such a big event for us. And I want to document it while it's fresh in my mind. And hopefully I can remember most of the details. But more importantly, still feed off of the feeling that we got from that event. And just how important it was, we feel, for the future of the business. So just to talk a little bit about how we became part of the Polynesian Football Classic. Started back in October of last year. I reached out to the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame asking if they'd be interested in, again, us designing and creating an adventure, just like I had with, a number of other events and festivals and things like that. Shout out to Ed Nasu for pointing me in the right direction for that. So I Facebook messaged Jesse Sapolu, who's in charge of one of the co-founders of the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame. And again, just asked about possibly doing shirts. Now, I didn't receive an answer immediately from him, so I waited a couple weeks, reached out again. Again, I didn't get an answer, waited a little while more, reached out a third time, and then was given the name of who I should contact, and his name is Phil. And I won't give his full name just because I haven't asked him about, sharing his name in something like this. But I finally get in touch with Phil and discovered that they're already in contract with another vendor, and it's someone that we're familiar with and had some dealings with in the past. But that they would be looking for a new vendor after the January event. So the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame happens January 23rd, and there's 3 major events that happen within that. First is the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame inductee event, where they bring in new or past professional NFL players and induct them into the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame. Second, there is a celebration dinner for that event. And then third, which just started last year, is a Polynesian Bowl, which is an opportunity where players from all over the country are invited to Hawaii to take place in this Polynesian Bowl. And it's kind of a big deal. ESPN will be there. It's their second year, but it's continuing to grow. So from a business standpoint, when I speak with Phil and he says, well, it's October, November. Hey, we've got a vendor. Get back in touch with us in January, end of January after the event. From a business standpoint, it felt a little bit like they were telling us nicely that they just weren't interested. But like always, our team decided to just be patient and follow up at the appropriate time. So I reach out again in December just to touch base with them. And he tells me, we're not making any decisions until February, until the event is completely over. So of course, February 1st, I reach out to him. The event is January 23rd. I give him some time there. Reach out February 1st, and we start our conversations about being the official apparel provider for the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame, which of course is a big deal for us to be connected with such a prestigious organization that does so much with Polynesian athletes, again, which fits right in with our message. Now we also realized that they, as an organization, are working hard to grow the notoriety and the popularity and the size of the event. And so more than just being able to provide apparel, we feel like this is a great opportunity for us to hopefully grow alongside with them as we see what they're going to do. And thinking about the potential of the event, it seems like it's a no-brainer that this is going to continue to grow. So we start working out the details with them, and from our perspective, it seems like the relationship with the past vendor didn't work so well, and so they were very open to us creating our own system in terms of how we wanted to do things, and a system that would be beneficial to us. And I won't go into the specific details, but they were very generous in giving us permission to run it the way that we wanted to, in terms of what we wanted to do for the event and how we wanted to do it, and how we could create and design apparel. Just making sure that we run things through them for approval, which of course made sense. And as we started working with them, that approval process has been simple. I mean, they love what we do, and I think, again, based on what they do and what we do, it's such a great fit that a lot of what we do just fits right in with what they're trying to achieve as well. So now, just as we start to begin these discussions with the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame event, the Polynesian Football Classic I believe, is created just within the few months after the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame. And we had a conversation with one of the gentlemen who created the event, and came to understand that part of it came from the Kahuku Bishop Gorman game, and seeing the popularity behind that, and that kind of sparked some ideas of, well, why don't we do more of that sort of thing. So as we're trying to finalize the deal for the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame, we are presented with the opportunity to provide apparel and merchandise for the Polynesian Football Classic, and we of course jump at that chance. But one thing that comes along with that is that we are now the official merchandisers of the event, and what that meant was that they were looking for someone or some company to handle all of the merchandise. I mean, not just the apparel, but anything that is non-food items. But anyone that wants to offer any type of merchandise, they would like somebody to oversee that. And given the opportunity, we of course said yes, as we do with the majority of opportunities. And so that really kind of fell into our lap, and it was an exciting thing. And so we've been working to take advantage of that. Now, what that means, in terms of being the official merchandiser, was that we had exclusive use of the Polynesian Football Classic logo when it comes to apparel. And it's the same way with the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame, with a few exceptions, because Nike's involved and they donate some items. But we'll learn more about how that plays out as we get closer to the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame. But with the Classic, again, when it comes to apparel, we were in control of the use of that logo, and anyone that wanted to use the logo to offer merchandise needed to go through us. Now, again, this was a huge deal for us, because not only did we secure the opportunity to provide apparel, but we now secure the opportunity to manage any merchandise, especially other apparel, at this event. As great as that sounded, it was entirely new to us, and so there was a learning curve there, and some challenges, and we learned quite a bit about how to do it. Fortunately, the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame and the Polynesian Classic folks were very patient with us, and very open with any questions that we needed answered. So we learned a lot, and we're going to be super prepared for what's coming up next year. So anyway, we started with creating designs for the event. And then the first item was to reach out to all the schools that were participating in the event and we worked out a program that would allow the schools to receive a percentage from the sales of the apparel for the program. Now, this program turned out to be great because we took that model and said, well, why not offer it to other high schools? And part of that came from other high schools reaching out to us and saying, hey, we love your designs for these schools. Would you do a design for our school? And I've talked a little bit about that in previous vlogs. That's continued to grow and it's growing weekly. I think since this weekend, we've had 2 other schools reach out to us, and we're working on those now. But again, created another entirely different program from anything that we thought would come from what we were doing, another opportunity and another chance for us to grow in a different direction and really create another stream of income for us. So that's been great. Now, we started in October, was the first time that I reached out. By February, we're in actual conversations, going back and forth, figuring out the details. By June, we have contracts signed and we're ready to go. So we secure a 2-year contract with the Polynesian Classic and the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame. So we're super excited for what is going to happen next year. And we've got we were given some tidbits of information about what's going to happen, and it's exciting. But as always, the excitement of securing new accounts or new opportunities is quickly replaced by the realization of the work that's involved. And again, because there was such a huge learning curve, we really didn't realize how much work was involved until we started to get into it, which is okay. Fortunately, we have a team that enjoys the planning of work just as much as moving into new opportunities. So the extra work, I think, was motivating for us, and again helped us realize that we were moving forward. A great reminder that we were making some good decisions and making good headway towards the growth that we wanted to see. So like I said, we finalized the contracts in June, and we have up until September to do a number of things: create designs, market those through the Polynesian Classic, market the Classic itself, market the schools that are involved. And all of this is because the plan is that as we align ourselves to the event, that helps to strengthen our brand, creates buzz around our brand, and as our brand continues to grow, that should increase sales. Also, the idea that if we can help shed light on the event in a positive way, that should lead to a greater attendance to the event, combined, of course, with the marketing that the Polynesian Classic and the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame and all those guys are doing already to market the event, as well as the schools themselves. But all of those things combined should, again, increase attendance, which ultimately should lead to more opportunity for us to provide product and sell our apparel at the event. And you know, countless details within each of those steps, but overall, that's the general plan. So first thing we do is we start on marketing the event. Now, one of the things that, again, we probably didn't fully understand was how much of a balancing act we would have to go through in terms of the Polynesian Classic and everything that was involved with that, continuing to grow our brand, Rookie Wear, on its own, because again, this was a separate event to who we are as a brand. It wasn't, it isn't by any means entirely what we do. It was just one more thing that we were going to be a part of. So balancing, growing that brand, doing right by the agreement that we had made with the Polynesian Classic folks to create and market and push that event. Push our own brand, continue to grow our brand and grow our name and get new product out there, which I think helps both. And then also football season has just started, and we have this high school program that's continuing to grow. We're trying to keep up with that. And then being licensed with 9 different universities. The universities and sports retailers are now coming to us and saying, hey, it's football season, what apparel do you have that we can offer? And all at the same time, we are designing and creating new designs for the new year, for our retailers, for our fans, for our customers. So the balancing act of all of this, again, was something new, and we handled it, I think, perfectly. Always room for improvement, always things that we could have done, but from the standpoint of a 2-man team, we believe that we did very well and did as much as we could, and did it in a good way. And I think part of the I guess testament to whether or not we did that was the success that we had, and the opportunities that came from others because of the perceived success that they saw that we were having. And so again, we feel like it was a win-win, and we're continuing to benefit from the work that we did. So with new partnerships comes new challenges, but we recognize that the benefits of these new challenges easily outweigh all of the work needed to overcome the new challenges. And just like we have done in the past, we just put our heads down and dug deep and went to work, and solved problems. I think that was the biggest thing that we were able to do together, was determine what the challenges were and then quickly solve them so we could move on to doing what was next. So as we prepared, September came quickly. It was interesting just how quickly the event showed up. Now, a funny thing is we talk about, again, rising over opposition, conquering the impossible. In the week before the event took place, up to this point, we're just moving along, doing the best that we can to market, grow our business. No real hiccups other than internal challenges that we have as a business. But in the week before the event takes place, we run into 2 major challenges, 2 major outside challenges. Now, one just happened to be a misunderstanding and was quickly resolved. It started to escalate, but then after we started to have some good dialogue with the other party, realized that again, it was just miscommunication, easily solved and worked out. And that relationship, incidentally, will continue to grow after this event. And I think a lot of it had to do with the way that both of the parties handled it. The other came from a past partnership. And without saying too much about this company, and I never want to, again, like I mentioned, discredit another company. But I think eventually it may come out only because they seem to continue to show up as we continue to grow our business. In some of the same circles, the relationship that we had with them went sour, and for a number of different reasons. Again, won't go into details. They were the vendors that were with the Classic before we came on. They were the contract was completed. It was not renewed, and then we moved into that position. And now this company kind of shows their head again as they work to get their product into the Classic. And the way that they did it, again, I think just speaks volumes about the way they handle business. But what they did is they contacted Sam Boyd Stadium, who was obviously the stadium where the event took place, and tried to go behind us. They had been notified. They had reached out to us wanting to sell some product. We informed them that, hey, if we settled up with what was due, then we could discuss them having a booth. They didn't respond. Instead, they went around to the stadium and tried to contact them directly and say, hey, we want in. Rookie Wear is not allowing us to come in, and they shouldn't have, or they don't have the authority to hold us out. It was a long email. Not that important. So what comes from that is the email is forwarded to us. We look it over. We quickly send out an appropriate response to all the parties that are involved. Let them know that until that company squares up with us, they will not be allowed to participate in the event. And it went smooth that way. We didn't hear from them again. They didn't show up at the event. There wasn't any type of issue after that. But again, as we talk about challenges, we had so many great relationships with the other vendors that were there, great working relationships with those that were putting on the event, and everyone involved with it. Anything that we needed, any questions that we needed answered, we received immediate help and response. But this last interaction with this group was just another reminder that there are companies, even Polynesians out there, that I think just don't believe that there's opportunity enough for everyone, and that in order for them to gain, someone else has to lose. And that's not our motto at all. As we've worked with the other vendors, it really has been, the goal has been to work together, that there is enough for everyone, more than enough for everyone. But it was, again, just a good reminder that it's always important to be cautious, that there are those out there that handle business differently. Anyway, so enough about that. So because of the nature of the event, we ended up doing what we had been trying to avoid this entire time, and that was having a booth and guessing about how much inventory to take to this event, to sell to the event. Now, I'm going to say it's a little bit different from maybe a Polynesian festival or that sort of thing, partly because we know that there's a focused audience. We know how to design towards that focused audience. We have the official merchandise. So again, that should give us a little more of an advantage in terms of what we're selling and to who we're selling. So, I mean, again, minimizing risk is always the plan. And so even as we had to guess inventory, it really did cut down on design as part of one of the choices we had to make. We knew what was needed. Now we just had to determine quantities. And originally, I pushed for 2,000 products, 2,000 items of apparel. And that number was based on us bringing 50% of pre-sold sales, which was about 4,000 pre-sold tickets. And the belief was, well, 4,000 was pre-sold. We're probably expecting another 3,000 to 4,000 walk-ins, probably from Nevada, which was the home state of where the event was being taken. And then Kuku High School always brings, I mean, they bring 75% of the crowd. And then Alton bring them, not purchasing online, but they'll bring their crowd as well too. And so I thought 2,000 was safe. However, Alj felt like we should minimize the risk of our first event and play it safe with fewer numbers. So after a lengthy discussion on the pros and cons of both ways, we agreed on taking 250 of Kuku and then about 150 of each of the other schools and about 120 of the event shirts. And that decision turned out to be a lifesaver because the eventual attendance of the event would have never supported the 2,000 sales shirts that we wanted. In fact, it barely supported the smaller number that we took. And so I think for me that was a great lesson. Again, I mean, opportunity, we wanted to maximize and take advantage of it, but but there are times when it's important to play it safe. And even I think at the numbers that we brought, that wasn't necessarily safe. Safe might have been just not to take anything. So there was always risk involved. But grateful that we have a team that's open to discussions and willing to come to agreement, even when the entire focus of both ideas are completely different. So LJ saved us on that. Now, in order to determine the success of the program, really, from our standpoint, it might be important to itemize all the costs involved. We invested a subjectively large amount in order to be able to use the logo for the Classic. But that included, being able to create official apparel, and then because we were given the opportunity to manage all of the merchandise, it allowed us to collect vendor fees and set that up. And that, I think, those three things just themselves made sense for us in terms of the investment. And we felt like those three things combined, we could easily get our investment back, and on top of that, make a good profit, which we did. Not a great profit, but we made a good profit. But those items were the intangibles and things that we were able to quantify, and things that we were able to write down on paper and say, okay, here's this and this, and if this is what we do with these numbers, this is how it will turn out. What actually happened at the event, provided so many unforeseen benefits that we're still surprised about how things turned out, and even more excited about the future of the event next year and what part we'll play in it. But I think most importantly, and I think this is the one thing that Algie and I have talked about the most since we've been back from the event, is the partnership that we developed with a certain company. And I won't mention their name either, just because I haven't asked their permission. But the potential of this and of this partnership could really lead to some very large growth opportunities. And it's funny because it comes from the booth type strategy, something that again we had entirely pushed away from. It comes from that path, but will lead to other things based on how we're setting up the partnership. But again, it's a great reminder of how things can change, and how some things should never be set in stone in terms of opportunity. And we're grateful to them. Their help in the event from the beginning was huge. They are veterans of that type of event, setting up booths and doing that type of sales. And us, this being our first event, we wouldn't have been able to do it, nearly half of what we were able to do, and in the way that we did it, had we not had their help. And so we're grateful for them, and we're looking forward to where that's going to grow. We were also able to meet other vendors that were on the same path as us in terms of trying to grow a successful business. And those discussions with them were both encouraging and humbling as we for some of the brands that were bigger, we were able to learn things from them, and some of the ones that were smaller helped remind us of when we were trying to grow, and some of the decisions that we were trying to make. And we look forward to continuing to work with them and finding ways to help each other achieve our goals. And I think that's going to be an exciting thing too. The partnerships, the relationships, and the friendships that will come as we continue to grow and have these events and other collaborations as well. And then we also met with the parties that had organized the Classic. And just the opportunity to kind of shake hands with these movers and shakers of this this new thing that's happening in high school sports was motivating for us. And then being able to have a discussion about the plans of the Classic and its future, and the plans of the Hall of Fame and its future, and then being able to share from our standpoint how important it is for us to be part of that growth plan, and share how we can help to be beneficial to them as they continue to grow and forge, again, new friendships and new relationships. So overall, and so many more details, and maybe we'll share some more. So many tiny things in between, all of those things that helped and made it exciting. Let's see, we also worked a booth, which is the first time that we had ever done something like that. Now, when I say worked a booth, we had lots of help from family and friends. The three young ladies that helped us run the booth, we wouldn't have been able to keep things as organized without their help. They ran it the majority of time. Audrey and I probably stood behind the booth by ourselves for, I would say, maybe a half hour at the most in combined time versus 8 to 9 hours of the entire event. And in that half hour, we were able to disorganize everything that the girls had worked so hard to do. But anyway, it also gave us an opportunity to shake hands with our customers, and hopefully they were able to place a face with the name of the company, which I think helps to grow customer loyalty. And we were able to see the excitement of their faces as they purchased this product, and hear their feedback on not just these products but other products that they had purchased. We sold a lot of product there based on the new designs that we had created, but we also saw so much of our previous designs, even from 2 years ago. People were wearing it and wearing it proudly, and it was exciting and gratifying for us to see that so many people appreciated the apparel that we have. So overall, the event lived up to our expectations and more, and has provided more opportunities than we could have even imagined. And thinking about it, we would have gladly invested 3 times the amount that we did had we known that we would walk away with the new opportunities that we did. So just 3 takeaways. Again, and we've talked about this a number of times, opportunities are everywhere if you look for them, but it's also important to be able to present to others why that opportunity would be beneficial for both of us. Why they would benefit if they partnered up with us in this opportunity. So it's not just recognizing the opportunity, but really being able to sell yourself to someone on why the opportunity can be a win-win. Number 2, challenges also are everywhere, and how we react to them is just as important to finding the solutions. Again, these challenges both came, and they could have been very serious. One of them jeopardizing the entire event, but they both came within days of the event. But we moved quickly to get them out of the way, and focused on solving them, and not being offended that this challenge was coming to us and in such a negative way. And instead of giving it more energy than it deserved, we kept it professional, businesslike, and were able to move it out of the way and move forward with what we needed to. And then number 3, just another reminder of how important relationships are with others. The partnership that we developed with this new company that we're just so excited with came because we were willing to offer more than we needed or wanted to receive. And what's funny about that is that they did the same thing. And it was interesting that it was difficult for us to discuss an appropriate split, because each wanted to make sure that the other had what they needed or what they felt to be fair. And just because of that type of conversation, we're excited about what will happen in the past. Also, with the relationships, we worked very hard with them to come to an agreement based on long-term goals and not just quick money. We discussed the growth of each company, the goals of each company, and how if we put together a good solid plan, we could help each other reach those goals and reach that growth. And I think that's important when it comes to any type of agreement. On a side note, we gave away tons of product to family and friends and anyone that we thought could benefit from it. Folks that we had talked to on Facebook, and they came and said hi, or said hi to us on Instagram, and then came and introduced themselves. People that we hadn't seen in a long time, or someone that we just felt would benefit from something a little extra. And from a financial standpoint, yeah, that might seem irresponsible, but I think as our goals being to provide a service, a quality service, I think we've decided to count it as a great marketing and branding opportunity, which we truly believe will pay dividends down the road later, and partly because we've seen that already in the past. It was an exciting event. We are so thankful that we had the opportunity to participate in it. We're so thankful for everyone that was patient with us and willing to give us help and answer the questions that we had. And we're extremely grateful for the capacity or the role that we had to play there. Not to sound arrogant, but we didn't come in as just a vendor. We had, based on our hard work and the strategy that we put into place, we came in as a partner to the event, which made things a lot more exciting for us. But anyway, I think that's all I want to share. Again, thank you to anybody who's listening. I think this is more, as I get into this, more documentation for me and for our company to look back on as we continue to see the growth. But thank you again. Let's go and get to work.